The pickup coil, I only see one in there. I've been chasing this 2-cylinder drop loss of power down now for a month on the Cbr929, and I forgot to go right back to the basics. Believe it or not, I forgot that a bad pickup will cause you to have all kinds of fucking problems that you just, if you didn't remember. It took me a while to remember. I didn't find nothing to tell me. But I've been riding motorcycles and working on motorcycles for God knows many years, since I can probably remember. My dad smacking my hand for sticking a screwdriver in the dirt when I was 3. Well, anyways, because it's been so long, I've had this fuel injected bike for so long, I didn't mess with carbureted bikes. And the thing about it is, believe it or not, you can test your spark by unplugging these when it's running. You can test your fuel by one of these when it's running. But what I did was ended up having to replace the fuel pump. And I replaced the fuel regulator, which it was time to do it anyways in the book. But this bike ran super forever. I did some mods on it. Put a servo eliminator on it, 2 Brothers exhaust. Redid the valves. We shimmed them. And other routine maintenance: brakes, tires, chains, sprockets. Owning a bike is got a lot of maintenance. Unfortunately, bending down kills me, and I don't have a table to work on anything anymore. So this has been going on since my last ride was in August, and I just noticed that something wasn't completely right. And the more I went, the more I noticed it. If you run the bike between idle and 2500, you really can't tell anything's wrong with the bike. But when you twist that throttle, you definitely can tell cylinder 1 and cylinder 4 is not firing. Check the coils, I replaced the coils, I replaced the plugs, all the plugs look good. Air filter and da-da-da-da. But yeah, other projects I've been working on, so this has kind of been pushed off to the side. And as I stood my bike up with my rig apparatus, as Trump would say, it's rigged. It's really not on that kickstand, it's rigged. There's the straps. The tank is rigged. Back in the day, I don't want to be racist or anything, but something came before rigged, jerry-rigged. And you don't have to jerry-rig anything. You know how it works. So I no longer work on cars, but I have my chain hoist, and it comes in handy on the bike. I got the bike stands over there. They're good if you want to just park your bike in a garage or whatever, but this is like my baby. This is, when I get on this side, it's like I can fly. glide the roads. Free as you can get as an eagle without leaving the ground. So I'm gonna go price what a pickup's gonna cost and a gasket to do that side. I need to pull that cover anyways. I'll show you what I am. Replaced the water pump in here. I replaced the thermostat. You know, I've done all the regular. I mean, I've done more than what the book calls for. But if you look right here at my oil glass, it's cloudy on the inside. You can't even really tell the oil. Move the bike around, whatever. So let me get that cover off right there. I'll go ahead and I'll clean that up. I'll inspect my clutch discs. This bike, by the way, has a recall on the clutch discs. So if you got a Honda Cbr929 2000, 2001, there is a recall on the clutch discs. But when they recall it, they punch a, I believe it's a letter right down here on the tree at the end of the serial number, which is right, the 0, 2. Alright, there's no letter punched in there, so all you CBR Honda 929 guys, listen up. It's recalling a clutch. This bike's got almost 40,000 miles on it, and it's got the original clutch, but there is a recall on the clutch, and if you take it to Honda, they will replace your clutch. The only problem is they'll get the parts in when they want to, and their mechanic will finger your bike. I'm sorry, I don't like people fingering my bike. And they don't let you stand there and watch them work on it. Two things, people. Your bike is like your wife. You never let anybody else ride her. And your bike is your life. I mean, when you're doing, not exaggerating, when you're doing 170, 180 miles an hour down a highway, you want to know about every bearing. By the way, the bearings, the wheel bearings in the front and back's been replaced. The triple tree bearings been replaced. Balls out bearings. Rotors have been replaced. I got all kinds of different sprockets, different sizes. And I found a 16 in the front and a 42 in the back. Puts you at about 190, give or take, on the top end. But first and second, you're past 110, like 1, 2. Owning this bike is like 17 years old, okay? And the newer bikes, everything's a bigger price tag. And you have to do routine maintenance. That book that comes with the bike that tells you on so many miles you do this or you do that. You don't have to wait until you get 20,000 miles if it says readjust the valves at 20. You can do it at 18,000. You can do it at 22,000. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to do the maintenance. There's all kinds of motorcycle experts out there and people that know this and people that know that. But sometimes we just forget the basics. We get so involved in all this other high-tech shit, we forget the basics. If you got fuel and you got spark, and I showed you how to check. If you got fuel and you got spark and you're still having problems, and you do your regular oil change, and you never overheated the motor, and your fan's working when it's supposed to, and it's got a rev limiter in it, so you can't really exceed the 11.5 rev RPM that's set at the factory. I had a dyno jet. I put it on there, programmed it up, and I could rev this thing 13, 14 grand. I could bury that tack. And you know what? That's all neat and good, but there is not a point on this bike that you really need to rev it that high. I mean, they put the rev limiters on there for a reason. The fuel injection emission system set up on it where it programs itself so that when you go up on top of a mountain, you got the same performance as you got at the bottom of the mountain. It's thousands of feet. The servo eliminator, I changed that and I loved it. I mean, I really couldn't tell any difference. It shut off my light up there and made it run pretty good. It's a lifetime warranty on the servo eliminator. That means I can unplug that little thing right there. You can see it. I can unplug that, stick it in an envelope, mail it to them, and they'll mail me another one back. Oh, you have to call them. It's made right here in the United States. The grill guards, I found them on eBay. Forget the name of the guy that sells them, but he's got them for any bike, and you know what? I like them. The only thing is, when you put them on the bottom, you have to take the bottom fairings off to get to your oil filter and change. And there's a reason why my bottom fairings aren't on here, is because I had dropped it and I had extended it, and I bent my kickstand instead of buying one. I bent it myself. But the bottom fairings aren't on there because the bike will scrape once it takes a curb. So instead of wrecking them, I took them off and put them up. It took me about 6 months. I didn't ride this bike just due to the fact I needed a back tire. I'm running an Avon AV80 on the back. But I needed a back tire because when I extended it, the wheelies didn't come up all the time. I mean, you get on it and the back tire just drifts out from underneath you, like it's like wow. And you, instead of concentrating on getting the wheel back down and get back on the gas, you can just nail it and it burns the back tire. Well, the back tire hasn't been worn but one time. And there was no warning. The last time I rode it, I mean, there was no warning at all. I just started running like crap. Gives a shit, I guess. Well, you lose 2 cylinders, and I know that I'm losing 2 cylinders because I got my little digital thermometer and measured the temperature rate out of the exhaust, and 1 and 4 are only running like 150. The other 2 are running 350, 400 degrees. So, and then when you rev it up, they get a little bit hotter, but it doesn't backfire. It's just like dead. Accelerate's dead. It starts running on 2 cylinders. Sitting on pretty much all 4 cylinders as it's sitting there idling. Like I said, as soon as you get about over 2,500, then You can even hear it going down. It doesn't even sound like a crotch rocket coming down the road. It just sounds sick. So, I'll let you guys know how it goes when we change the coil. I can't loop my videos together, so you'll have to watch out for another one when I change that. Alright, Top Gun Tony's Garage. We're going to finish this up.